Do you feel you have a responsibility to the game and the country as the national governing body for the sport to speak out and support the 9/11 families and Khashoggi's fiancé? Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. Yeah, I mean, as you and I spoke last week long on this, I'm not really sure if my answer is what you like or everybody likes. We definitely feel a responsibility to this game. We feel a responsibility to the competitors that play it. We did sit down and have a long conversation about a week before the U.S. Open, did where somebody else play and what promoter they played it with disqualify them for this event. We decided no on that with all the awareness that not everybody would agree with that decision. I don't, and that's probably enough. I would tell you then the same thing you and I talked about on the phone is whether we all like it or not, in February, 30 guys played for the same promoter in Saudi Arabia and with an acceptable release from the PGA Tour. And for years, the DP World Tour has had an event there, same promoter. I'm sure there's players that both came through our qualifying and maybe you're teeing it up that are sponsored by, those different. So we asked ourselves the question of one week before, if you play somewhere where you're not approved to play, would you be disqualified for the 2022 U.S. Open? And we said no. And we also had to ask the question, if we're going to put that kind of clause in who gets in, we got to go back to 9,300 people and make sure that it's not just about who played last week, but who played ever, where, sponsored by, and it becomes a pretty slippery slope to try to apply that at 9,300 people. But we understand. I mean, nobody. I've said this to these folks who work here, but when I was 4 years old, my dad started waving an American flag in our yard ever since. As soon as I bought a house, first thing I did was put an American flag there, and it's been flying in the front yard of my house forever. So you're not going to find a stronger American than me. And but we, at the end of the day, ran this championship by asking ourselves, did those people disqualify themselves from the 2022 Open? And we believe the answer to that was no, and that's the decision we made.
And Mike, no support for the 9/11 families?
Complete support for the 9/11 families. But I understand that, I mean, listen, we're all three Americans, and if anybody doesn't remember that day, then shame on you. That's alive and well in my head. I remember where I was, what I was doing, who I was talking to when first plane went in. We lost a couple neighbors. But as it relates to the USGA and this championship, that was the decision we had to make a week ago, and that's the decision we made.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.